Greetings, everyone. This is Pamela Lorenzo, your host of the Lee's What podcast. Today, I have another great friend, great guest, my new good friend, Noreen Roche from Ireland. We connected about a month ago at an event hosted by our dear common friend and my own, normally alumni of my academy, but also publisher, the one and only Mary Gooden. So we had a good chat, and we had actually a few chats already. And each time I get to know Noreen a bit better, and each time I found out that, wow, what an amazing story, journey, but also what a beautiful heart, beautiful soul that she is. And this is why she's here. Just a little bit about her. She works with horses. That's one of the loves of her life. And but it wasn't always like that. She got really connected with horses 14 years ago, and that's what led her down a path of her healing, a spiritual awakening, and all that. She grew up in an environment with a very controlling mother. It was not very easy to as an environment, but she's a survivor. We just told her that, hey, you're having some issues with internet. That's nothing compared to what you overcame, and that's okay. We're gonna make it. So yeah, she's doing a lot of good things. She's hosting retreats around there on island, around helping people to open their hearts, connecting with horses and things like that. And she's also been around the world to travel, just like me, an avid traveler. She's been to Malaysia, a place dear to my heart, Thailand, Brazil. My heart is still in Brazil. And yeah, so a lot of good things that we can explore. So many things. I'm very excited. So without any further ado, Noreen, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Delighted to be here. Delighted.
Please don't mind. Please don't mind. We're going to talk about your business, your impact, and all that in a moment. But first, for people who don't know you, tell us, who's Noreen as a person, as a human being, and as a woman?
Well, Noreen is, I'm 54 years of age. I grew up on a farm, and I suppose my biggest fear growing up was always I had a journey with my horses when I was 13 years of age. My horse ran away with me.
Oh, wow.
And yes, I was 13. And at that stage in my life, can you imagine, I was a teenager. I was one of 12. I was 11. And a lot of stuff had gone on, I suppose, not realizing it. I wasn't conscious of it. And we had moved house. I had actually lost a brother in a tragic accident. So there was a lot of grief, and there was a lot of hidden things in the surface. So for me, my horse was telling me that time that I wanted to run away from all of this. I wanted my freedom. But at the time, at 13, I was still at home. I was still, going to school. So at 18, I decided I was going to leave and find my freedom in London. So that's where my story started. So on the 8th of the 8th, 1988, I landed in London with my husband now, which is my boyfriend at the time. And so that's where my freedom started. And then I came back from London in 1998, and I connected with Reiki. I was just told to go and do this course for a weekend. And it actually opened up so much for me. It opened my heart to actually realize that this child within me was crying out to let go of the grief, let go of the control, let go of the manipulation, and all of that energy was stuck inside me. And I blamed myself for that all my life, because in London it was that freedom. It was like, drinking and socializing and doing that. But I did an awful lot of traveling in that time as well when we were there. So I traveled a lot with my husband and learned an awful lot. So I always feel the universe always guides us in the right direction. So I was guided to open up my spirituality because I had visited all these amazing countries and I could feel the energy, but I actually didn't know anything about energy work or anything about spirituality, only what I was brought up in Christian. So ran away from that as well. So the horses came into my life when I moved to Epona here in 2008. So I've always been guided by the eights. You'll see
I was
every
about to
time
say
I
that.
move.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
So I was guided to Epona, and when I was here, we arrived here, and I remember walking in and going, "Oh my God, this place is actually going to help me to heal and my family heal as well." I had 2 young children at the time, and all I could feel was the trees. There was, amazing ancient trees. We had to build our own house, so it was beautiful. We designed it to suit us. And that's where I was introduced to horses, because where I live, there's horses everywhere, all around us. So one of my clients came one day and she needed some healing with the Reiki. I was doing Reiki on humans, and she asked me to come and look at her foal. The foal was actually dying. And Payman, I had no experience with animals, only through my childhood with, dogs and cats. And as you say, rode the horses until I was 13 and never again wanted to see a horse again. And I went to the stable, and for 4 days, that healing session with the owner and the mare and the foal was actually transformational for me, because I knew, working alongside that we cannot survive without love.
Mm.
And when everybody's connected and we're all working on the same energy, it's amazing, the transformation. So that 4 days, the foal came alive and it lived. So I started working with thoroughbred horses for 2 years, and I didn't know anything about horses, but the person I was working with was amazing with horses. And he taught me an awful lot about the horses and the energy. So then I decided to get my own. So that's when my sister got very sick that time, and I felt very, very connected to her. I listened to her. I listened to her stories, and she was 10 years my senior. And I just felt, oh my God, I need to listen to what she's saying, because it actually relates to me as well, my trauma. So for me to heal, I needed to heal all that trauma. So I suppose her message to me was that she actually passed away the day before my 40th birthday. And instead of looking at it as a negative, I looked at it as something that every time I turn an age, I would be able to look at her and go, you know what, I've done it. I've done it. I've really done the work that that you have guided me. She has guided me always here in the land, helping me. I actually even call my horse after her.
Wow, beautiful.
Yes, because I wanted to see her beauty every day. And Lizzie came into my life, my beautiful Palomino, to help me heal and to transform my life. So by Lizzie biting me, I learned the body language by I suppose, reading books about amazing people who work with horsemanship, but also about being out in the land on my own with my own horses, and actually feeling the energy of them, and feeling into my own emotions and watching their reaction as I did that. And I realized when she was biting me that actually I was very controlling. Even though I ran away from being controlled, here I was controlling again. I was controlling everything in my life. So that was Lizzie's message for me, is to let it go and let life flow with ease, and stop creating that energy of controlling. And even coming on the call here this morning, it was like going, oh God, the internet wouldn't work. And it was just more that resistance again. And it's just feeling into it and actually breathing and going, you know what, Noreen, you deserve this. You deserve. And it's like Lizzie is always pushing me to pushing the boundaries to a limit where I can actually feel at ease with it. And I suppose that's where I come into, where I work with my horses now, and I help people to see what's in front of them, subconsciously they're not aware, and to see it and to actually acknowledge it and be very much aware of it, and to open their heart to actually change and to be that change, Payman. So it's had 3 horses. So Lizzie is my Palomino, which is, I call her my manifestation horse, because she came into my life to help me to actually create abundance and freedom. And I have Ruby, which is the mom of my two horses. So Ruby is the mom. So she's very caring and nurturing, and she gives me so much love. I mean, I can do anything with this horse, and she will just nuzzle into your chest and just say, everything is good. Everything is good. You're doing amazing work in your life. And that's what everybody wants, is to be nurtured and loved. And then I have a black horse, which is, I call her Isabel. She was born here on the land, and she's my spiritual horse. So she helps me connect with spirits, and she helps my clients connect with spirits to help them on their spiritual journey. She's one of these horses that nothing gets in her way. She will always show you a way to actually find that tunnel where you can actually find that freedom.
Wow.
Yeah, so for me now, working with the horses, it has just brought abundance and freedom into my life, which is lovely. And I'm teaching my children and my whole family. And now I've brought in a new dog, which is, and I teach animal Reiki as well. I teach people how to communicate with animals as well, because it's so important. If you are somebody who's out in nature and loves animals, it's really, really important for you to see the signals, and to open your awareness. And that's basically what I do, is help people to be aware, to listen to the birds. Yes, I have 2 well, no, they're not teenagers anymore, 19 and 22. I keep saying they're teenagers, they're still living at home. Yes, so they're very grounded. And my husband, who I've known for 38 years, since I was 17. We're on the journey together. Yeah.
Beautiful. What a story. What a story. You mentioned, I couldn't let that go. You mentioned 1988, 2008. And then something else, I just saw a flash. April 2nd. 4 times 2.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Was it.
Yeah.
First of all, you said you and your, at the time, boyfriend, now husband, on August 8th, 1988, you went to London. Did you select the date specifically, or was it a complete random date that just showed up?
It was a complete, because we
Wow.
what had happened was we went to Jersey. I was going to Jersey for 3 months, working, and I was coming home. I had booked a ticket to come home.
And sorry, when you say Jersey, you're talking about New Jersey in the US.
New Jersey, in England. Yeah.
That's
Jersey Island.
Clarify.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I was going there looking for a summer job. And after 2 weeks, we'd spend all our money. So with no money. And how I remember the dates, because dates don't really come into, being. It was actually, when we arrived, Princess Beatrice was born in London. So she was Prince Andrew's daughter. And it was all the 888, it was all these Chinese New Years. So that's how I actually remember when I arrived, that's the dates that we arrived. The way you never forget it, kind of going, oh, Princess Beatrice. And then it was like, oh my God, that's a really, Chinese powerful energy, about manifestation.
Not just Chinese, universal,
Yeah. So it never really hit me until in the last few years that actually numbers are a big thing for me. And I always, see the signs, I see the signs for it. So, yeah.
It's funny. That reminds me of my mother. God bless her soul. Every important thing in her life happened on her 13th. on the 13th of the month. Everything. A wedding day, the day she graduated when she came back to Canada, she went to college again. Every important date of her life came on the 13th. So would you say for you also every important event in your life happened on the 8th?
Yes, yes, yeah,
Wow.
yes. Yes, I love it. And I suppose for me now, I do Tai Chi and QiGong. So it's the divine infinity number 8, you know, so I have it in my car, my number plate in my car, all
Wow.
of that. Yes. So yeah, so it's quite important to me that yeah, I look out for the signals. Yeah.
Sadly, no 8 kids, right? I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next lifetime, you know?
In the animals, I've all the animals. Yes, yeah, I might have all of us
Cool.
together.
Cool. Awesome. Now, I'd like to ask you a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Mhm.
What makes you happy?
Being out in nature.
Mm.
Mm.
What makes you smile?
Smile is looking at my children being really happy and just free.
Love that. Now, let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart
Mm.
sing? What sets your soul on fire?
My soul, when I'm on fire, right, when I see people out in the field and they're transforming in front of my eyes, and it's seeing the smile on their face and looking at the animals coming, my horses coming towards them, even though they might be standing there for half an hour going, why aren't they coming to me? And it's just more, I'm helping people to open their hearts, to start loving themselves and allowing that love in. And that's something that well, I know for me was something that I couldn't do for a very long time. And for me to stand out in the field with somebody to do that, because I was so afraid to be in the field with my horses at the very beginning. So that brings me an awful lot of happiness.
What were you afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
No, I
I
mean
suppose,
when you were on the field with your horses, you mentioned you were afraid of. What were you afraid of?
oh, what was I afraid of? I was afraid of my own power, actually,
Ah,
and my negative thoughts.
okay.
Because all of that energy would come, you know, from a younger age, bringing that energy in. So that was something I feared an awful lot because they're very, very powerful. And I knew my thoughts and my emotions could get out of hand. And then I would be very fearful because they would mirror that emotion. And I would be afraid to see that in front of me and to deal with it. And that was what the trigger was, that yes, I was very afraid of myself and I
Mhm.
didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it. Mm.
How did you overcome that?
How I overcome that was to actually, it was really interesting because I'm always guided by the animals to help me to go to places where I can learn. And I went to this arena one day, and this old man was getting ready to go out into the arena, and he was doing all his grounding exercises and everything. And I realized I needed to do that before I went out with my horses. I needed to ground my energy. I needed to ask the questions: what am I feeling today? And what can you help me with? What? And so for me to ground myself before I went into the arena, before I went in with the horses, then I opened my heart. I was very vulnerable.
Mm.
And then they saw that and they came up to me and helped me overcome this. So that was how so I help people to meditate beforehand. I would
Mm.
never take anybody out into the field because I know what it is like for myself to go out there with that fear, because we all have a very, very powerful energy. And I suppose our negative thoughts sometimes take over our positive. And it's really powerful.
Speaking of energy, do you think that animals, and specifically horses, can see our energy?
Oh, yes. They have 7 times our electromagnetic field. So our electromagnetic field is so big, right? But they have actually 7 times that energy. So they can feel the vibration. So if you go into a field in fight or flight, which you could be very relaxed, because I've taken people in fight or flight, but not realizing they were in fight or flight, but actually watching my horses running around the field going, oh my God, you're in fight or flight. And they're going, how did you know? How did you know? And as you said, it could take an hour for somebody's heart rate to come down into coherence with the horses in that fight or flight, that stress level.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how they, yeah. So it's pretty frightening when you see them running around the field in that emotion. It's like going, they're blinded. They're blinded. And that's what the feeling that person is feeling. It's 7 times stronger with them.
And there's no way to calm down the horses. You have to, for the person to calm down, to bring their frequency and the heart rate down, so they can, the horses in return can also relax.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Fascinating.
So it's by, yeah, so it's by sitting in the field then with them, you know, as you said, you put, you know, a wire fence around and you just relax the person. So the horses can actually relax as well, you know, which is, and they will come when that person is calm and ready to receive.
Now, what makes you sad and angry?
What makes me sad and angry, I suppose the environment that we're around and how we abuse our environment and how people abuse it, and also I suppose people with, you know, narcissistic and ego driven, how they can control our world, and it's all about control, it's ego. And I suppose that really, really makes me angry to think, why can't we just, you know, work together, you know, male and female, you know, masculine and feminine energy, and bring our strengths together as opposed to, you know, controlling everything. I think it's, you know, it's ruination of what our, you know, our planet is. I don't think the divine sent us here to actually be corrupt or, you know, do this. They brought us here for love. And I think, you know, that's what I suppose you and me are trying to show people, is that if we work from a place of love and connection and a group community, we will succeed.
It's an environment that shape us to become that way, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There's a powerful quote that says, I don't want to be the product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yes. Yes.
So powerful.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
My number one superpower is, I think I'm a very good listener. And when I was started working with energy, I remember my children used to say to me, Mom, you're not listening to me. And I used when I was small, when I was, you know, starting out, because I was too much in my head going, oh, what do I need to do now? And I think they brought it home to me, kind of going, you need to listen. You need to listen to us to see what, you know, the needs of, and to listen to myself as well, go internally and see what because my head used to be all over because it was just full of ideas and full of everything. I hadn't time to think. So, yeah, so I think one of my gifts is that I listen and I communicate. I listen to the language of the horses. They communicate through my ears. So I tell an awful lot of stories to relate to what's going on with that person. And it might be my story, but I will try to do it in a story way so that it will actually make the person feel more with it and connected with me. So my communication with my listening is very important. Listening to the horses, listening to the animals and the birds, and seeing
Yes.
what they're saying to me. Yeah.
Well, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to listen twice as much as we need to talk.
Yes. And I suppose as a young child, I was the 11th. Can you imagine? There was more in front of me. So it was quite hard to be heard. So I listened an awful lot to,
Yeah.
I was
I,
very
defi-
shy.
I definitely want to talk about growing up in a family of 11 and a moment. Sorry, 12 and a moment, but a couple of more questions about getting to know you better. What is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
It can be an object, can be a saying, it can be anything you want.
Yeah, I suppose I suppose growing up was valuing is, for me, it was, I was growing up going, what have you got? What have you got to show, for your life? Or what have you, what materialistic have you got? That has gone out the window for me completely, because what I have is something that's in my soul. It's nothing to do with what people can see, or, and I know that growing up, it's like, oh, how many acres of land had you, or what kind of a car are you driving? Those things don't actually, they're not my values. They're not, it's nothing, these are nothing, if you have a lovely car, well done to you, as opposed to seeing the value of them and
Yeah,
judging them. I think,
exactly.
so, yeah.
And conversely, what is one thing that you didn't value before that you're now valuing more and more?
I value my time.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I love my time here. Yes, I love kind of, as you said, valuing it so that it's into good use. So I do an awful lot of meditation. So that is very important to me, is my time. And I suppose I'm very blessed because I work from home. So I have an awful lot of time to go out into the land. I do my Tai Chi in the morning. Now I have my little dog. He has me out early in the morning, and I'm doing my Tai Chi out in the grass, and my QiGong, and then going out with my horses and working with my clients, and as you said, going on podcasts, and valuing all of this. It's really, really important for me, for my time. Yes. So
Absolutely.
time for me and my
Absolutely.
family.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. For me, health, time, family, the top three negotiables.
Yeah,
Once
yeah,
you lose any of them, especially the first two, health and time, nothing else matters.
yeah, yeah. And health is so important. And yes,
Health is
I've
everything.
always,
Once you lose it, you can't get it back.
no, you can't. Yeah,
And once and for God
yeah,
forbid you lose it, I mean, nothing else matters.
no. And I don't think people actually realize that
Yeah,
our health is our wealth, really,
I was about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah, and and also for me, I found during the years is that actually we can heal ourselves. We can
yeah.
actually do it. We can, instead of, going to the doctor and getting a pill to hide it and suppress it, we can actually, we can do this ourselves.
Look at the actual
We can do.
root and not just of the
Mhm.
symptoms.
Yes, yes. And I think that's my analytical brain coming in, always going, well, why have I got a pain in my knee? What did I do to, where's my pride? I need to let go of this, and, and just feel into that energy and kind of go
Mhm.
and allow it in, allow it, and go, all right, okay, why am I feeling like this? Why is that knee sore today? Is it because I'm not flexible, or am I undervaluing myself, or is it my pride that's getting in the way of actually going forward, or so different things. It's like me coming on this morning, and I couldn't connect on the internet, and it was like going, Noreen, do you deserve this? Do you deserve this? And I'm going, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
Let's move
Mm.
forward. You mentioned that you grew up in a family with a lot of siblings, 12, and you're number 11. So how is it
Mhm.
growing up in such a large family?
um, there's 20 years of a difference between the youngest and the eldest.
Can imagine, yeah.
So yeah, so a lot. So when so number 11, I suppose I was very connected with my dad. I was very connected with my
Wow.
dad. Um, and because there was 4 years between the siblings, so my next sibling, there was 4 years. So I had like 4 years, and then there's 4 years between my younger sibling. So there was a big gap. So I had 4 years of connection with my being the youngest, probably. So I was probably blessed as well, you know. But yes, you mentioned my mother earlier. My mother was very she had a masculine energy. She was a very strong woman, very controlling. But then again, she had 12 children to control. You
Mm,
know, she lost 3 siblings in her lifetime. But I suppose growing up with 12 children, you know, it's the law of average. So she had, and also her own life, she had lost a mother when she was very young. So for now, my mother is still alive. She's 91. She, what I suppose for me is I'm getting to know her now and realizing that actually my mother, she didn't have a mother. So she found it very difficult to be a
mm,
mother. She was the masculine energy, and she loved, you know, she was the one out there. I always said she used to go out to have her meditation when she used to milk the cows. That was her meditation. That was her time for herself. She used to have her cigarette and she used to milk her cows, and the cows would all nurture her and the energy. And then, as you said, she'd so much going on that, you know, that we all had jobs to do. And so yeah, so sometimes she took her anger out, and it didn't matter whether you had the table set perfectly or not. It was just
mm,
more her own frustration. And yeah, so she has strength. She is amazing at manifesting. So can you imagine trying to feed 12 children all her life? My father was very much, he loved reading, and he was very feminine energy. So we had that combination, masculine and feminine energy, which was lovely. And they had a lovely life together. They had but a lot of grief. I mean, my brother passed away when I was 6 years of age.
mm.
He in a tragic motorbike accident,
Oh,
and he was only 19. And then, as you say, another sibling, you know, when she was only 49. And that was really difficult for them. And, you know, they kept it together. They kept it together, you know, the two of them. Very strong energy. Yes. But yeah, so I'm getting to know my mother now very well, and just seeing where her trauma was when she was growing up, and being aware of what was going on in her life,
mm.
and with us, and teaching us. She finds it, yeah, very difficult. She's still the mother now, even at 91.
Is it
And
trying to
we're trying
control
to be,
you?
yes. And
Uh,
it's like going, oh, does she ever stop, even at 91, you know? And they're going, but yeah, but it's just more her it's understanding. It's understanding where she's come from, and trying to show her how to love
mm,
herself and to love people around her. Yeah. So yeah, she's very caring. But as you said, that controlling, but that's because she grew up with that. It's survival. And I know that now.
mm.
It's
It was a different
survival.
world. It was a
It's
different world. Yeah.
totally different. And as you said, growing up in that, I've learned from her so much. And I've learned from my father that actually I brought those strengths into my own life. And as you said, the negativity comes in, but that's okay too, because I have to deal with that. I'll always have to deal with that. You
Yeah.
know.
So while growing up in such a large family, was there any siblings that you get along with better and some that you couldn't stand?
Yes, my younger sister, I used to get on really well, the two of us, because we were kind of at home. Yeah. Anya, my sister, she was 4 years my junior. We got on very well. Got on. I remember when I left, when I was 18, when I left to go to London that time, she was very, very sad after me. My mother thought she would actually have to bring me back home. So we got on really well. Yes, I got on with my brothers. They were 2 older than me, and my sisters as well. Yes, and growing up in a big family, you have to remember as well, the older ones actually brought me up, my older siblings,
Yes.
my older sister. So my sister that passed away, I used to sleep with her. I used to sleep, we used to sleep heads and tails sometimes, but I was very, very close to her. I sleep with her when I was younger. And so that was really hard to let that go.
Sure.
Wow. And that grief. But as you said, yeah, it was a learning. And I think everything we do in our life, Payman, is always an experience and to learn from it, as opposed to go, oh my God, it's a failure in my life.
Absolutely.
But for me, for my 50th birthday, I remember I was during lockdown and I celebrated online. I couldn't do online, but I did it far, and I celebrated my life because I actually turned 50, because she had passed away at 49. She didn't make her 50th birthday. And I celebrated my 50th birthday because it was a celebration of life. And I think every birthday I have is a celebration of my life.
Every day
Every
is
time.
not just a birthday, every
Yes.
day. I saw a quote, powerful quote the other day. It said, "This morning I opened 2 beautiful gifts." Can you guess what they are?
You.
Your eyes. Your eyes.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
this is why the present is called the present, because it's a gift, literally
Yes.
and figuratively speaking. Just like you mentioned, nothing happens to you, everything happens for you, and life is a school. We come here to learn, grow, become better and wiser, and then take those gifts, share them around you and around the world. That's, from my
Yes.
understanding, one of the main reasons we are here, to uplift each other to our own experiences. Our experiences, our gifts, our wisdom are not meant to be kept inside. They're meant to be shared.
Yes. Yes. And thank you for this opportunity for sharing, because I
Welcome.
suppose I'm very shy in what I do, because I suppose I'm afraid of being judged by people and the whole lot, but I've overcome all of that. And I've overcome that because I feel if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Absolutely. And listen, from one shy to another shy, I used to be the shyest person in the world not long ago. The people that knew me from before, when they see me now doing all these things, they say, "What happened to you? Did you make a pact with the devil?" I said, "No, never did and never will. I just find my purpose, my voice, my mission, my reason, my ikigai. Once you find that, then you become the person you're meant to be."
Yes.
I used to be
Yes.
so shy that in family events, I was the one taking the pictures. I was really on the pictures. I was very self-conscious because of a big nose, no hair. I used to be fat. So, I can totally understand that. But let me tell you, you're not shy. You're the last person to be shy, because you've been blessed with so many incredible, beautiful gifts. Now is your time to shine, to embrace those gifts and share them loud and proud around you and around the world. And I'd be honored to play
Yes.
my tiny role in that to help you bring your gifts to the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you.
Beautiful conversation. We only not even getting started. We just scratching the surface of the surface. Me and you, my MTA, which stands for my trusted advisor, this guy is telling me that me and you, we're gonna do more than just one episode. Well, we may even create an entire playlist of our episode. I mean, your episode, because you have so much to share. From the first moment I realized that, hey, I want you on the podcast because you have incredible stories, not just stories, but lessons and gifts that are meant to be shared. So we're going to do that. We're going to call it today for today. If someone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to do so?
I've got a website, so it's eponaretreats.com. I'm also on Facebook, so it's Epona Retreats Center. And my name is Noreen O'Neil Roche on Facebook as well. And I'm on Instagram, Epona Retreat Center. And you can connect with me there. Yeah. So, yeah, we're delighted to.
Absolutely. I'll put all of these in the show notes. Listen, I salute you. You're truly with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, that warm, beautiful smile of yours, your amazing horses, your presence, your gifts. You're a gift yourself. Stay safe, stay awesome, my friend, and can't wait to talk to you again for part 2 next week. Take care. Stay safe. God bless you, my friend. Cheers.
Thank you.
Very welcome. 1 second. Let me just...